Hello everyone, it's me again. This is a response video to my good friend Tommy Burton over at Tommy's Musical Adventures. If you don't know Tommy, check him out. He's become one of my best friends in the YouTube world. We, you know, message each other back and forth outside of YouTube. We talk every now and then. He's just a great guy. He knows a lot about music. He's a musician himself. He plays a little guitar. He plays bass. He's written a few songs. Plays in the band. Um, so I mean, he loves everybody. He loves the Monkees. Loves Mike Nesmith. Loves Bob Dylan. That in itself is enough for me. He also loves kind of more obscure stuff. He loves the Turtles, Frank Zappa, Big Star. Gosh, he likes Marty Stewart. We both share a love of Marty Stewart. So check out Tommy Burton. Tommy's Musical Adventures is the name of his channel, and this is a video he put up a few days ago, and I was trying to go about trying to interpret what he was saying in his original video, essentially what he wants folks to talk about, and hopefully I'll get this ball rolling with some of you all that subscribe to me. And again, if you haven't subscribed to me, go ahead and do that. It's always neat to know that people are caring about what I'm talking about, if it's important at all, and it just gives me encouragement when I see comments and subscriptions go up. So thank you to everybody who's subscribed so far. I know I've had a bunch that came through recently, so thank you all. Now back to the show. So Tommy wants us to talk about any band, or really any musician. He wants us to discuss a musician who was right for a band. So, like, was this musician, like, they might not have been the best musician, they might have not made it on their own, but they worked for whatever reason with a band. Like they were a piece of that puzzle that made a band so unique and so cool. I know a lot of people talk about Ringo Starr being like that fourth piece of the Beatles. You had the great songwriting team of Lennon and McCartney. Even early on, they were writing songs, and Harrison was already dipping his toe into those waters. But then they have Ringo come in, and to the novice, Ringo just sounds like a drummer. But you go in depth and you see Ringo was part of that glue that made the Beatles. Without Ringo, there's no Beatles. So I had to think a little bit about who I want to talk about, and I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to talk about Mr. Rod Argent, the pianist, mostly organist for the 60s pop rock group The Zombies. Now, those of you that watch my channels know, watch my channel know that I love The Zombies. Odyssey and Oracle is one of my favorite albums of all time. I never get sick of it. Potentially a top 5 album of mine. And Rod Argent, one of the two key songwriters, him and Chris White, the bassist, they wrote most of the Zombie songs. They did a few covers. I think Colin Blunstone, their singer, had a couple songs that he had his hand in, but mostly it was Rod Argent and Chris White. What made the Zombies so unique, especially in the early 60s? The early 60s were a time, of course, when the Beatles were big. You had groups coming out like the Hollies, the Stones were just starting to make their appearances. You had groups, I don't know, like, in the mid 60s, you had like Herman's Hermits and, I don't know, Dave Clark 5. These bands, even some early Who, you had these bands that were, guitar driven. They were all about a gritty lead vocal. A lot of them are blues based. So you had some with harmonicas. You had groups like the Yardbirds that had, a lot of harmonica use with blues guitarists. But when the Zombies came out, they were so unique in that they relied heavily on the organ as the lead instrument. Now, that in itself, probably wouldn't have flown in rock and roll, but I think what made it work And the reason that the Zombies, had the hits that they have, and they Tell Her No, I Love You, She's Not There, Time of the Season, um, Carousel 44. They did a cool version of You Really Got a Hold on Me. Sticks and Stones was another cover that they did. I Want You Back Again. Just they have a lot of good songs. So check out the Zombies if you don't know them. If you just know them from Time of the Season, there are a lot more. But what made them work was the jazzy, almost classical playing of like the improvisation of Rod Argent mixed with the smoky, subtle vocal tone of Colin Blunstone, like almost like his whisper singing. It was like singing through thick fog, kind of. I mean, you had Mel Torme, the Velvet Fog, but Colin Blunstone is a good protege of the Velvet Fog, I would say. So, but yeah, I think Rod Argent. I mean, Rod obviously later on in the '70s he went on to form Argent with his cousin Jim Rodford on bass, and they had a few hits as Argent. And then of course the Zombies got back together, and Rod he played in some studio sessions too with other artists, including working with Colin Blunstone even after the Zombies broke up in the late '60s. But I think Rod Argent is a key example of somebody who, if he had just gone out as Rod Argent, I mean, he sings, but he's not, he's not a classic rock singer. I mean, he sang because the Zombies were already pinpointed as a group with a great lead vocalist in Colin Blunstone. So they would, Rod would have a song or two on each album. And that organ playing, I mean, that in itself, it's, critical to the Zombie sound. But then you mix in Colin Blunstone's vocals and you have the Zombies. So I hope that answers the question, Tommy. Again, he encourages everybody to make a video of their own. Comment on his video to let him know that you made a video so he can watch them and see how the snowball starts rolling down the hill. So let me know if you don't have a YouTube channel, if you just want to comment who's an artist or a musician that works mostly because of the band that they're in. Let me know, and I will catch you all soon. In the meantime, adieu from Virginia. Bye.